Did you know the world's first computer programmer was born nearly 200 years ago? Happy Ada Lovelace Day, Monzonauts! Today, we celebrate this amazing figure in history, as well as all the achievements of women in science, technology, engineering, and maths, otherwise known as STEM, who came after. In a bit, we're going to speak to some of our own Monzonauts about their journey into STEM careers. But first, let's get to know Ada a little more. Ada Lovelace was born on the 10th of December 1815 and was a leading 19th century mathematician. She was also the daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron. When Ada was young, her mother, Annabella Milbank, insisted that she was taught logic, science, and mathematics, which was pretty rare for women at the time. Ada was chiefly known for her work on Charles Babbage's proposed mechanical general-purpose computer, the Analytical Engine. She is believed by some to be the first to recognize that the machine had applications beyond pure calculation, and to have published the first algorithm intended to be carried out by such a machine. Therefore, she is often remembered as the first person to recognize the full potential of computers and as one of the first to be a computer programmer. Without further ado, it's time to speak to the awesome women who came after Ada. Here's what they had to say about their journey into STEM. How did you discover your passion for STEM?
So the first one is, how did I discover my passion for STEM? And I've actually got something I'm going to show you. So we've just cleared out my family house because my dad is moving. And so very aptly, I discovered this, which is a piece of work, a project I did when I think I was about 10. And my favourite part of it is this Flora Devlin in the year 2015, my face cut out, superimposed on an astronaut. And that's honestly, I remember that's where it began, that real passion and interest. And a lot of it was driven by curiosity and what is this whole world that I've not yet discovered, and how does it work, and how do all these things link together?
I was lucky enough to grow up with computers in the house. From when I was very young, my parents worked from home, so we had computers around that I could play with. And I spent a lot of my formative years on computers and on the internet, which was terrible for my social life, but it seems to have done me all right in the long run. So when I was about 10 or 11, I learned HTML, started building websites. I used to go on websites like Neopets a lot for virtual pet games and use my HTML skills to make my profile page look nice, and built myself websites and blogs and all sorts. And weirdly, I never actually thought I'd make a career out of it. I do distinctly remember thinking that web development as a career seemed like a really boring idea, which shows how much I knew. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and it wasn't until I was 24 that I actually ended up doing a computer science master's and completely changing course.
For me, getting into STEM was a bit of trial and error. I had a number of different majors at university, but what I came back to was really my first job at university. My boss handed me a Microsoft Access book, and he said, build me a billing database. So I read the book and I built him a billing database. I had no experience of this before. And when I was really trying to find what I was passionate about in life, what I wanted to do, I always came back to that experience, and that is what led me to continue on in this career.
My favorite subject at school was always math. I loved it. However, at the same time, I also love arts and the process of creating something new that I could see. When deciding what to study, I knew I wanted to combine both these passions. This was also during the time when social networks and apps were booming. I didn't want to only be a user, but also be part of the process of its creation. That's when I enrolled in computer science and business, with the opportunity to move from my hometown in Bolivia to Germany and then the UK. My family, friends and teachers were extremely supportive and always believed in me. This was wonderful because it gave me the confidence to make it. During my studies, I had ups and downs, but I'd met incredible people on the way that truly inspired me to dream big and build cool stuff with tech. I now work at Monzo as data scientist, building predictive models to help provide the best foreign options to our millions of users. I love my daily technical challenges, and I'm driven by how our collective work is transforming traditional banking with a mission to make money work for everyone.
Did you face any challenges or roadblocks trying to get into a STEM career? How did you overcome them?
It took me quite a while to end up in development. And I think one of the biggest roadblocks I had was I just had no role models growing up. I didn't know that this career was actually a possibility for me. So I played with computers when I was little, did tiny little bits of programming, but there was nobody in my life that did this job. And I didn't know that this is a job I could do until I was much older and had gone and seen other careers.
I remember doing this project and then speaking to my mum and dad and saying, no, like I really want to go to space. And rather than laugh, which they maybe they did do afterwards at this picture with my face imposed, they were like, you can do that. Like, if that's what you want to do, you can do it. You can do whatever you want, but there's going to be challenges, there's going to be roadblocks, it's going to be difficult. And it's for you to decide whether you want to, like, those challenges and those roadblocks are the things that you're prepared to go through in order to get there. And I think for me that was a really, really important message, which was they're going to be there, there's going to be loads, but if you really believe in what you want to do, you won't see them in that way. So I feel very lucky and grateful for that.
The answer is yes. I'm originally from Bolivia, but had the opportunity to study in Germany. During that time, I was often the only woman and often the only foreigner. Looking back, it felt very intimidating and did not develop enough confidence to feel I could land in a more technical role from what I had previously expected. My first role after my studies was as a product manager in a startup in the UK. My team was amazing and it really inspired me to get involved in more technical tasks. This was also the point that I decided to go back to university for a year to get the specific skills I wanted to gather. During that year, I found out that I really wanted to become a data scientist and that I loved the analytical and programming challenges it involved. Having said that, my advice is to surround you with people who inspire you in an area that you love working. This helps create a nurturing and safe environment where you can learn and challenge yourself with the support of others.
I haven't actually faced any particular roadblocks, which I know is not the case for everyone. I'm grateful to have worked in companies where I felt very supported and very empowered, but I've also heard lots of stories from friends in the industry who have had a much worse experience than I have. I've definitely been the only woman in the room quite a lot in my career. Since university, I was the only woman on my course, and it's just kind of been a theme since then. Although I was once on an 80% female dev team, which was a riot, so more of that please.
What advice would you give to another woman who wants to get into a STEM career?
And I think the advice, honestly, my mum and dad gave me is the same, which is really, think about what it takes to get to where you want to go to, and if that's something that you're okay to go through and okay to go on that journey, because you care so much and you're so curious and excited about what's on the other side, then it will make everything much better. And yeah, really just follow what you're curious about and follow what you're interested in. Speak to people that are doing it, send them emails, reach out to them on LinkedIn, find anyone that will talk to you about what they do and kind of share their excitement and curiosity with you. And yeah, I'm always happy to talk to anyone that's here about my interest in space and how I ended up at Monzo.
My advice for anyone who wants to get into this field is to get a mentor. And this can be anyone, any gender, any age, who has the experience that you need to draw from to get to where you want to go. So in my career, I've had mentors who are tech leads or senior or staff engineers who have been in roles that I would like to do. And so I've asked them how they got to where they are and if they could go back, what kind of thing they do differently. And they've also helped me by pointing me in the direction of learning resources that will benefit me, as well as helping me make some difficult decisions along the way. And it doesn't have to be a formal arrangement either. So if you find someone you want to learn more from, you can just have a chat occasionally and ask them how they got to where they are.
My advice would be find your role models. Find the underrepresented folks who are working in the industries that you have a real interest in and see the range and the width of the jobs that they're doing and how they talk about it. You can ask them how they got into their career and what their advice would be for your first steps.
My first advice is to recognize that you're capable of making it. Every person will follow a different path. You need to create your own. This can be going back to college, changing your degree, or even getting your full education online. Do what works for you and surround you with folks who will be there to support you. The second advice is to never give up. A career in STEM requires patience, and often you might be blocked with tasks such as programming or challenging projects. However, you get used to it, and it is the most wonderful part to see your work having such a huge impact wherever you go. The last advice is to always seek for opportunities where you can grow. When I finished my undergraduate, I wanted to build a career in the UK. I applied to so many places that rejected me, but one worked out. 5 years later, I'm working at Monzo, doing what I love and working towards our mission to make money work for everyone. Thanks for listening.